With just 223 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Megasaurus 55 is on their practice out lap. With just 222 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Richard Rossier posted 4:37.844 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Armin Sunweiler is on their practice out lap. There are just over 220 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 220 minutes left in this practice session. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Armin Sunweiler is on their practice out lap. Megasaurus 55 is on their first practice flying lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. I'm Rob the commentator bot. Let's do this. Armin Sunoiler is on their practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Armin Sunoiler is on their practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Armin Sunoiler is in snake. With just 211 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. There are just over 210 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 210 minutes left in this practice session. Armin Sunoiler is on their first practice flying lap. With just 209 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Puppy Dog from Hell is on their practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at VIR full course as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. With just 207 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Megasaurus 55 has a best lap time of 7:38.326. Eddie G is on their practice out lap. There are just over 205 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 205 minutes left in this practice session. Let's get this qualifying session underway here at VIR full course.
Let's see who's got the speed and the skills to take the pole position.
It looks like Richard Rosier is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Richard Rosier can deliver.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Megasaurus 55 is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
The adrenaline is pumping. Puppy Dog from Hell is on their outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Richard Rosier is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
You can feel the tension building. Megasaurus 55 is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. Royal Postma is on their outlap.
Patience is key in these early moments, Rob, but I have a feeling Royal Postma is going to make it count.
Opening square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote, closing square bracket. There are just over 15 minutes. Opening square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote, closing square bracket. There are just over 15 minutes left in this qualification session. Wow, look at Roll Postma go. They're really turning on the jets in this qualifying session.
It's always impressive to see a driver in the zone like this, Rob. Let's see if they can maintain this pace.
Roll Postma completes their lap in their Skip Barber Formula 2000 regional, putting them in P1.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Richard Rossier completes their lap in a time of 2:14.285. They are currently in position 2. This is where the mental game comes into play. Puppy Dog from Hell is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. It looks like Megasaurus 55 is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those opening square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote, closing square bracket. I don't know about you, but I think Roll Postma might have a secret rocket. Opening square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote, closing square bracket. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Richard Rossier has just completed a lap in 2:13.923. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Mr. Bang has just completed that lap in 2:18.959. Their best lap so far is 2:18.959, putting them in P5. Will they be able to hold on to that spot?
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
It's clear that Megasaurus 55 is on a mission in this qualifying session. They're pushing their car to the limit. Megasaurus 55 completes their lap in their Skip Barber Formula 2000 regional, putting them in P2. I think I just saw a blur flyby. Roll Postma completes their lap in a time of 2:09.488. They are currently in position 1.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
Woohoo! Richard Rossier is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go.
It's amazing.
Richard Rossier has just completed a lap in 2:12.057. Let's see if they can improve on that time further.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Richard Rossier completes their lap in their Skip Barber Formula 2000 regional, putting them in P2.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. The adrenaline is pumping. Eddie G is on their outlap. warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Eddie G handles it.
Richard Rossier looks to be off the pace. Hal, what do you think they need to do to improve? You can feel the tension building. Eddie G is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Eddie G can...
Opening square bracket, single quote, comma, single quote, closing square bracket. Impressive display by Stefano Canonica, currently sitting in position 4. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position. Stefano Canonica completes their lap in a time of 2:11.244. They are currently in position 4.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
And there goes Eddie G, currently in position 7. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
You hit the nail on the head, Rob. Eddie's current position of 7th is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
Eddie G has just completed a lap in 2:23.634. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. A solid qualifying performance by Armin Sanuela, positioning them in 5th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
Great analysis, Rob. Armin Sanuela has shown excellent pace to secure 5th. Now the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
Armin Sanuela has just completed that lap in 3:27.553. Their best lap so far is 2:16.728, putting them in P5. Will they be able to hold on to that spot?
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Armin Sanuela has put in a great effort and currently holds 5th. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? It's a very still day here at VIR Full Course, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Rob.
Roll Postma will lead the way from pole position.
But they can't get cocky. This is Assetto Corsa, friends, and anything can happen.
On the second grid slot, we have Richard Rossier.
Big things expected for Richard Rossier today.
Megasaurus 55 lines up in 3rd place as the engines rev and the race begins. As the drivers prepare to take off, Stefano Canonica sits in 4th place on the starting grid.
Stefano Canonica will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Armin Sanuela is holding down the fort in 5th place. In the middle of the pack, we have Mr. Bang starting from the 6th position on the grid. Sitting in 7th is Eddie G.
An opportunity for some good points today, but the others aren't going to make it easy.
Puppy Dog from Hell has qualified 8th.
But they're going to have to time their moves just right if they want to come out on top.
The green flag is out and we're racing. Who's going to take the lead?
The opening lap is often a hotbed of potential problems. The ability to steer clear of any mishaps will set the stage for a successful race.
Settling into a rhythm is going to be crucial here.
Like gladiators, they enter Rob, but instead of lions and swords, our champions fight in an arena of tarmac, and with fire-breathing machines of cutting-edge materials, designed to explore the very limits of physics itself in what can sometimes be very much a fight to the death.
This is going to be one hell of a race. I can already feel it. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today.
I'm looking forward to this one, Rob, and we'll see a return to form for Megasaurus 55 in this outing in USA.
Establishing an early advantage will be crucial to the outcome of this race. The drivers are jockeying for position. Mr. Bang will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position.
It's always intense racing here at VIR Full Course. Hold on to your hats, folks.
Not the best of starts there for Megasaurus 55, and that's going to immediately make their race more challenging.
Definitely not the start they were looking for. And now they risk getting held up in the early stages of the race.
Hold your breath, folks. Megasaurus 55 is sandwiched between two relentless competitors, 0.1 seconds behind, and Puppy Dog from Hell 0.2 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position.
I'm on the same page, Rob. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind provide valuable context to understand the challenges faced by Megasaurus 55. It's a constant juggling act, and they need to seize the right moment to gain an advantage.
You know, Hal, I've always wondered, how do racing drivers stay so cool and collected under such immense pressure?
Well, Rob, it comes down to mental strength and training. Drivers often work with sports psychologists and practice techniques like meditation and visualization to help them stay calm and focused during high-pressure situations.
The crowd is on tenterhooks as Stefano Canonica in fourth chases after Armin Sunoiler. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Stefano... Breaking update. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. Eddie G is giving it their all as they chase down Megasaurus 55 in P6.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Eddie G should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Megasaurus 55.
Things don't seem to be going Armin Sunoiler's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Armin Sunoiler is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Richard Rossier, as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
They certainly aren't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon, unless it's down to a mistake from Royal Postma.
Hal, what's the impact of tyre degradation on race strategy? How does it affect a drive? Braking alert. I don't think that's the fastest way around VIR full course. The action is non-stop as Mr. Bang shadows Stefano Canonica through every twist and turn, determined to claim third.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. Who will take home the victory? It's too close to call.
I love being here at VIR Full Course. What an awesome place to be witnessing these titans of the track battle it out.
Indeed, Rob, what a magnificent sight and sound. I love listening to the roar of these engines. Let's just listen for a moment.
The tension is building as Mr. Bang trails behind Stefano Canonica. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Stefano Canonica hold on, or will Mr. Bang be able to close them down? It's a battle of wills out there, with Armin Sunoiler trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Mr. Bang. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Armin Sunoiler in fifth determined to catch up. But we know Mr. Bang isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Armin Sunoiler is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle you don't want to miss.
Spot on, Rob. This constant back-and-forth battle is keeping everyone on the edge of their seats. One small mistake could have severe consequences for any of these drivers.
Looks like that's a mistake from Puppy Dog from Hell. This could be costly.
VIR Full Course is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
Armin Sunoiler is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Tough break for Armin Sunoiler, who has just lost a position. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Armin Sunoiler will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Things are going according to plan for Roel Postma, who is currently first.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Crikey! Roel Postma's flat out like a lizard drinking, pulling away from Richard Rossier with quite a clip. A strong showing from Eddie G, who is currently 7th. Struth. Eddie's not here to muck about. The gap to Armin Sunoiler is dropping faster than a hot pie at the footy, now at 22.9 seconds.
Now this is what we call real racing. It's anyone's race, wide open as a Carolina sky. Who's gonna step up and take us to victory lane?
Huge shout out to the admins at Assetto Corsa friends for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, Rob, and the excitement is palpable. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
Stefano Canonica has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Richard Rossier. I expect their only hope at this point is that Richard Rossier makes an error. A solid performance from Roel Postma, who is holding down first. Stop the press. Oh dear, Roel Postma has had an incident.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race, they've been looking at a decent result.
Well, it doesn't look like Roel Postma is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Richard Rossier. The race is heating up as Stefano Canonica in third closes in on Roel Postma. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It looks like Armin Suneuler is pushing hard to catch up to Mr. Bang. The gap is over a second, but Armin Suneuler is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Mr. Bang?
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Armin Suneuler tries to reel in Mr. Bang. But Mr. Bang is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Armin Suneuler find some extra pace to bring the fight to Mr. Bang?
Mr. Bang is placed 5th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Armin Suneuler, who is 0.8 seconds behind.
That's right. Mr. Bang is showing some great form, and it looks like Armin Suneuler won't be able to catch up, barring any mistakes.
Mr. Bang is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 3.17 seconds down.
Can Mr. Bang refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Armin Suneuler is chasing Mr. Bang in P5.
The gap is 0.5 seconds now. Armin Suneuler is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Mr. Bang.
Hold up, breaking info. That won't be ideal for Megasaurus 55. Looks like Armin Suneuler is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control. Will Armin Suneuler be able to make a move and pass Mr. Bang?
It's starting to look like we might get a battle between Armin Suneuler and Mr. Bang.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
We're starting to see who really has the pace now in this race, as Armin Suneuler is starting to climb all over the back of Mr. Bang. Any closer and they may need to pop the boot. Mr. Bang has been served a big slice of eat my dust by Armin Suneuler. Hope they got their eating pants on.
That's right. They've got to stay focused and not let this setback affect their mindset. Meanwhile, Armin Suneuler is showing some incredible skill and determination, and is now a serious threat to the other drivers on the track.
It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely. What a great race we are witnessing today. These drivers are giving it their all, and it's a thrill to watch them compete at this level.
They're really pushing themselves and their machines to the limit, and it's paying off with some incredible driving.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Rob. You really can't beat the excitement of a good race, especially one as competitive as this.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Mr. Bang trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Armin Suneuler. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Mr. Bang close in enough to mount a challenge? It's looking good for Eddie G, sitting in 7th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
It's all about consistency for Richard Rossier, who is currently 1st.
That's right. They can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
A commanding performance from Richard Rossier, who has increased their lead over Roll Postma, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors.
That's exactly what Richard Rossier needed to do.
Let's talk about tyre degradation. How does it affect the car's handling, and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Rob. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
Things don't seem to be going Roll Postma's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. A strong showing from Richard Rossier, who is currently 1st.
Definitely, Rob. But they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
He can't hold on. Richard Rossier is losing time to Roll Postma. You can feel the tension in the air.
The drivers are all focused, putting everything on the line for a chance at victory, pushing themselves and their machines to the limit.
And let's not forget about the incredible machines themselves.
Absolutely, it's amazing to think about the kind of engineering and innovation that goes into making these vehicles. But it all comes down to the drivers who have to be able to handle the power and speed. It's going to be thrilling seeing how this race turns out.
Things are going according to plan for Richard Rossia, who is currently first. The gap between Armin Sunoiler and Mr. Bang is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Armin Sunoiler to even allow Mr. Bang to get a look in.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
It's game on now. Mr. Bang has closed the gap to Armin Sunoiler. It's now down to 2.3 seconds.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
A solid performance from Eddie G, who is holding down 7th.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Eddie G has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
It's looking good for Roll Postma, sitting in 2nd.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Oh dear, Roll Postma has dropped down to 3rd. Oh, this is getting intense. Roll Postma is just a few car lengths behind Stefano Canonica. It looks like Stefano Canonica is in control. They're ahead of Roll Postma by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. Coming into Oak Tree, the fight for second is heating up. Who will be the first to blink? It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Mr. Bang, who is currently in P5, but Armin Sunoiler is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Mr. Bang.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Armin Sunoiler is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Mr. Bang and P5 doing everything they can to catch up.
They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position, daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners. Bloody oath, Puppy Dog from Hell is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Eddie G down to a scant 39.2 seconds.
That's a great effort from Puppy Dog from Hell. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
The tension is building as Stefano Canonica trails behind Roll Postma. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Roll Postma hold on, or will Stefano Canonica be able to close them down?
It's going to be tough for Stefano Canonica, as Roll Postma seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Stefano Canonica pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
The gap between Mr. Bang in 5th and Armin Sunoiler remains over a second, but Mr. Bang is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 15 minutes? In your experience, Hal, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Rob, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Megasaurus 55 will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Mr. Bang is fading faster than the last rays of the outback sun. Hal, can you share some strategies that drivers use to manage tire degradation during a race?
Certainly, Rob. Some strategies include adjusting the car's setup for better tire life, altering driving lines to reduce wear, and using tire management techniques like lift and coast to preserve grip for as long as possible.
It's a close race between Megasaurus 55 and Mr. Bang in 5th. Mr. Bang could be looking for a way up the inside of Megasaurus 55. Three cars, three different racing strategies. One driver is defending, while the other two are relentlessly attacking. Who will come out on top?
I couldn't agree more, Rob. The proximity of these cars is incredible. The precision and trust these drivers have in each other is truly remarkable.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Mr. Bang trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Megasaurus 55. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? Good news for Mr. Bang. The gap to Megasaurus 55 has decreased. It's now down to 0.9 seconds.
This here's where the steel meets the pavement. Both drivers got to keep their cool if they're looking to take the checkered flag.
The crowd is on their feet, roaring with excitement. It's an all-out war between these three drivers. Who will emerge victorious? Your guess is as good as mine. The race is heating up as Mr. Bang in 6th closes in on Megasaurus 55. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Mr. Bang gaining places and Megasaurus 55 losing them.
Go, go, go. That's what we want to see.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Megasaurus 55 trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Mr. Bang. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Megasaurus 55 close in enough to mount a challenge?
This is where experience comes into play. Mr. Bang has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Megasaurus 55 is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
Fantastic move from Megasaurus 55, who has just gained a position.
Impressive. Megasaurus 55 is really showing their skill and determination out there.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Armin Sunoiler is placed 4th at the moment. Impressive stuff from Armin Sunoiler, who has managed to pull away from Megasaurus 55, leaving them choking in their exhaust fumes.
Darn tootin', Rob. Armin Sunoiler is looking as smooth as a gravy sandwich out there. They're making it a tough day at the office for Megasaurus 55.
The pursuit is on. Roll Postma is closing the gap on Richard Rossier, determined to claim P1. Roll Postma is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Richard Rossia to 0.6 seconds. It's looking good for Roll Postma, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Richard Rossia.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Royal Postma needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
It looks like Mr. Bang is pushing hard to catch up to Megasaurus 55. The gap is over a second, but Mr. Bang is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Megasaurus 55? You know, Hal, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Rob. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
A strong showing from Roll Postma, who is currently first.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Like a dingo on the chase, Stefano Canonica is hounding Roll Postma, and the gap's now just 2.4 seconds.
If Royal Postma wants to keep their lead, they're going to need to drive like they've got a gator on their tail.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Mr. Bang, who is currently in P6, but Megasaurus 55 is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Mr. Bang.
That's right, Mr. Bang in 6th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Megasaurus 55 is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
It's all about consistency for Armin Sunoiler, who is currently 4th.
That's right. They can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
It seems like Armin Sunoiler is struggling. Their last lap time wasn't as good as Megasaurus 55's.
It will be interesting to see if Megasaurus 55 can keep outpacing Armin Sunoiler.
A solid performance from Roll Postma, who is holding down first.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Royal Postma has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
No worries for Roll Postma, who's leaving Stefano Canonica for dust, as though they're a parched bloke chasing the beer van. Things are going according to plan for Eddie G, who is currently 7th.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
It looks like Eddie G is making a move. The gap to Mr. Bang is now down to 74.4 seconds.
Exactly what Eddie G needed. They can't afford to lose any more ground to Mr. Bang.
Roll Postma is placed first at the moment. Roll Postma is hitting the apexes like a pro, increasing their lead over Stefano Canonica. But can they keep it up without spinning out?
That's right, Rob. It's all fun and games until someone pops a tire. Let's hope both of them can keep it on the black stuff. You said it, Rob. With great power comes great responsibility. But sometimes these drivers forget that and let their egos take the wheel. Let's hope they keep their eyes on the road and not on their own reflections in the mirror.
It's a brilliant day for racing here at VIR Full Course. I'm really enjoying this.
This race is truly epic. What a treat to be sat here witnessing this spectacle.
It's looking good for Roll Postma, sitting in first.
Definitely, Rob. But they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
3 cars, 3 different lines. They're jockeying for position, looking for any opportunity to make a move. A strong showing from Mr. Bang, who is currently 6th.
That's right. They can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Megasaurus 55, as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time. Fair dinkum, Megasaurus 55 is getting a wriggle on. The gap to Armin Sunoiler is now down to a whisker at 2.3 seconds.
Just what Megasaurus 55 needed, like sweet tea on a hot day. Can't let Armin Sunoiler out of sight for too long.
3 cars in perfect formation, creating a moving train on the circuit. They're using the slipstream to gain an advantage, but who will make the decisive move?
Exactly, Rob. It's like a high-stakes chess match on wheels. These drivers are analyzing every move and trying to anticipate their opponent's next move. It's a true test of their mental acuity.
It seems like Puppy Dog from Hell is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can Puppy Dog from Hell refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
Well, it doesn't look like Richard Rossier is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Stefano Canonica. A solid performance from Eddie G, who is holding down 6th. Braking development. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. The crowd is on tender hooks as Megasaurus 55 in 5th chases after Armin Sunoiler. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Megasaurus 55 find a way to catch up? Stop the press. Eddie G has pulled into the pits. Hold your breath, folks. These drivers are showing exceptional car control, threading the needle through tight corners. It's a battle for supremacy.
No doubt about it, Rob. The battle for supremacy.
Braking development. It looks like Eddie G has been called into the pits. It's all about consistency for Eddie G, who is currently 6th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Things are going according to plan for Puppy Dog from Hell, who is currently 7th. Well, butter my biscuits, Hal. Puppy Dog from Hell is watching their lead over Mr. Bang shrivel faster than a prune in the sun. We're down to just 2.1 seconds. This is where the race gets really interesting. Megasaurus 55 is closing in on Armin Sunoiler. A brilliant maneuver from Megasaurus 55, who has just moved up the field.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
Armin Sunoiler has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Megasaurus 55. I expect their only hope at this point is that Megasaurus 55 makes an error.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
Struth, Armin Sunoiler's not here to muck about. The gap to Megasaurus 55 is dropping faster than a hot pie at the footy, now at 6.1 seconds. It's a nail-biting showdown between these 3 drivers. They're nose to tail, pushing their limits in every corner. It's looking good for Armin Sunoiler, sitting in 5th. A strong showing from Eddie G, who is currently 6th. Stop the press. Eddie G is pitting. A solid performance from Roll Postma, who is holding down 1st.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Things don't seem to be going Richard Rossier's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. On the final lap now, and Roll Postma looks like they might just wrap up this win. It's all over. Roll Postma has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now. Stefano Canonica takes second place with a fantastic race.
Brilliant. Stefano Canonica showed great skill and determination to take second place.
Impressive drive from Richard Rossia to claim the final spot on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
Puppy Dog from Hell takes sixth. Coming in fourth, we have Megasaurus 55. In seventh, it's Mr. Bang. Fifth sees Armin Sunoiler.